Hi, I'm Bill Kleinis with Malco, and today we're detailing outside. While we know this isn't always the most conducive way to do your detailing work, sometimes you're stuck with what you got and you've got to do it. So today we want to talk about, some of the things that you might encounter and some things you can do to maybe make it a little bit easier on yourself. So if you're stuck washing a car outside, there's a couple things you can do to kind of make this a little bit easier on yourself. And the first thing is, kind of go section by section rather than trying to do the whole car at once. There's nothing worse than trying to get rid of dried on soap after you're done washing a car. So, wash one section, move on to the next, keep it wet. Some other things you can do is you can utilize a foam cannon. A foam cannon is going to give you a little bit more time because it's got that thick layer of foam. Our Ultra Foamer, the UFO, or the Nano Care Wash and Wax works really, really well through a foam cannon. Both of those will give you plenty of time when you're trying to wash, just so it doesn't dry. It stays nice and thick. It's a stable foam when you get it down. It'll help you out a lot. One of the biggest things you're going to deal with when you're outside trying to wash a vehicle, especially when it's sunny like this, is hot panel temps. So really one of the biggest things you can do is spray it down with water ahead of time and start to cool it off a little bit. And don't let it dry, obviously, because then you're going to be dealing with water spots. But the best thing you can do is try and keep these panel temps as low as possible because it's going to make your job easier from start to finish. So a lot of us have faced this issue before where we're trying to wax a car outside and we're using a traditional paste wax or liquid paste wax, and we've noticed that it gets really hard to wipe up. It kind of starts to dry a little bit faster than we're used to, and we can't do as large areas as we normally like to. There's a couple ways around this. Number one way, if you've got an easy up tent or a pop-up tent or some shade somewhere, it's always going to be easier to do it in the shade than the direct sunlight like we have now. If that's not an option for you, you can always choose a product like Cherry Flash. Cherry Flash, you can literally wax this entire car outside in direct sunlight and it'll still wipe off with almost no effort at all. You can really see the Cherry Flash versus our traditional paste wax. While the traditional paste wax is going to give you outstanding, longevity, depth of gloss, beading, it's going to be a lot harder to use and a lot more time consuming in direct sunlight. Just like we were talking about being out in the sunlight and it's a little bit more difficult to use like a traditional paste wax, you're going to run into that same similar issue when you're trying to compound outside in the sunlight. There are certain things that you can do to get around that. One is keeping the panel cool. Sometimes people have a bucket with some cold water in it and they'll put a towel in there and they'll drape it over the panel that they're getting ready to work on while they're working in this section here, just so that panel is going to be cool when they get to it, so it's not too hot. It allows the compound to work a lot better and it's not going to evaporate all the lubrication that's in there immediately, which can also induce swirling if that does happen. So, obviously the best thing that you can do is be out of the direct sunlight. If you put up a tent, you're under a tree, whatever you can do to make it so you're not in direct sunlight is going to help you a lot when you're compounding. The other side of it is, you don't want to be on a surface that's too hot. So even if you're in shade, if you just pulled this car in from outside in the direct sunlight, it's going to be difficult to buff on if it's still really hot. So trying to keep it as cool as possible is really going to benefit you throughout your entire buffing process. We get this question a lot too when we're talking about ceramics. A lot of people are like, what kind of environment do I need to be in order to do a good job with my ceramic coating? Can I do it outside? Can I leave my garage door open? And the short answer to this, to keep it high level here, just don't do it. You really want to control your environment and you want to control the dust that's around you, because if it gets on that surface, even when you're wiping with the applicator block, there's a strong possibility for you to scratch the car. Really, panel temp is one of the biggest issues you have when you're outside in the sunlight. If you can keep it cool, it's going to reward you from start to finish. Even though working outside is not an ideal condition, it can be done, but you have to change your process and steps up a little bit in order to be able to still be efficient, fast, and get the results you want at the end. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.